Hey everyone, Aliana here, and in today's video I want to talk to you about niching, why this is one of the biggest struggles really when you're building a business, especially if you're building something that's new, something that's more authentic to you, something that's more based on your life's experience. You're not just building one more of whatever is out there in the market, you're kind of creating something for yourself. And it's something that even yesterday I was talking to my husband about it, and I was like, I'm feeling really frustrated by how often it keeps coming back, that even when you think you figured it out, there's another layer and another layer and another layer. And it's natural, right? We want to feel that certainty that I know who I'm talking to, I know what I'm doing, I know what I'm selling, I know why I'm doing it. And it can feel a little unsettling when you realize, oh wait, there is another layer. I actually saw a post by someone once on LinkedIn who was kind of quote unquote calling out people on changing their headlines or changing their niche all the time and that sort of thing. And for a lot of people, well, first of all, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, change your niche as much as you want to. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that you have to settle on something that you're not 100% sure of. It's okay for you to not be sure and move forward. In fact, you should. You definitely should not wait until you have perfect clarity to move forward, because that's actually part of the clarity, is to move forward despite not knowing all the answers. But you're not even changing that much if you think about it. It's more like you're peeling the layers of the onion and you're getting to the core of what you're doing and who you're doing it for and why you're doing it. So that's how I want you to think about the process of figuring out your niche. I've made a video about this before, but I wanted to create a bit more practical how to approach this. If you're in a place where you know who you're talking to, you know who your clients are, you know what your service is, you know why you do it. Let me move this a little bit, stop shaking. There we go. You know all of these things, but you still feel like something is missing. Okay, that's not a perfect frame, but whatever. Okay, hopefully this is good enough. All right, so the way I like to think about it is the niche is basically your hero, right? Which is your customer. Your hero is going on a journey towards a transformation, and your work is that transformation. Your service is that not the transformation, but the path to that transformation, right? That's how we like to think about it. This concept was covered in books like Story Brand by Donald Miller, which is a brilliant book. If you're interested in branding, highly recommend that you read it. And he provides a step-by-step how to build that hero's journey in your branding. But if you're struggling with who am I helping and what am I doing for them, and what exactly am I doing and how do I articulate it in a way that makes sense, a great way to think about it is, what is the trigger? So I made a video before that was called the brand's emotional signature. I talked about the emotional transformation that people get as a result of engaging with your brand, as a result of working with you. And there is usually a trigger that pushes people to want to go through that transformation, right? Somebody doesn't wake up one day and go, I'm here, everything's great, I'm happy where I am, but it would be really nice to go here, right? It doesn't usually work that way. It can, again, but for somebody to go through a full-blown transformation, do all the work, spend money, especially the higher packages, go through an extensive program, time and money and resource investment, usually there is a trigger. And that trigger is your key to defining your niche. So I'll give you an example. For Brands Are Alive, the trigger is when somebody realizes they are done pretending to be someone that they're not. They are done doing business with the old rules of doing stuff that drains your soul, doing marketing that's out of alignment, being inauthentic, or just know, the feeling when you want to go create a piece of content and you feel like you're censoring yourself, you're suppressing yourself, you're afraid of being the odd one out, you're afraid of being judged, you're afraid of being misunderstood, you question yourself, and you want to be fully self-expressed in your brand. You really want to show up fully and boldly and show who you really are. You have a creative side, you have a spiritual side, and you want to combine these things with the practical business and financial profitability. You want marketing that works and that is in alignment with your true self. that trigger is what pushes people to engage with something like Brands Are Alive. Pushing is an interesting choice of word. That's interesting. That's something for me to meditate on. Where is that coming from? Because there is like no push. It's more, well, for me at least, what I remember from my experience before I built Brands Are Alive, and when I was uncovering what I wanted to create, this is what it felt like. I was in a business where I was making good money. I was doing really well on paper. You know, it's everything that I thought I wanted, and I wasn't feeling right. And I felt like I was still suppressing parts of myself. And I felt the need to become fully self-expressed, but I couldn't make sense of, you know, the purpose. I couldn't make sense of like, how do I figure out, what am I passionate about? What is my purpose? What's my message? And how do I even figure that out, let alone incorporate it in a financial, sustainable, profitable business? How do I make sense of that without having to compromise on it or kind of dilute the truth of the message that I'm sharing here? And that was my trigger. Right, to go on this journey of self-knowing and psychedelics and unclenching my butthole, as I like to say nowadays, you know, and just allowing myself to be fully self-expressed and not really care too much about what's going on out there as much as I care about what's happening within. Of course, listening to the market, getting feedback from it, but following this guidance, my essence, my heart, more than anything else. So that was the trigger. For you, the trigger is something that you know very distinctly. So even if you're struggling to articulate, you know, who am I working with, and who do I want to work with? Not just who can I work with, but who do I most deeply desire to serve? What is the core of the work that I do? Because I know I can do this, and this, but what's the underlying thing here that's going on? And how do I want to do it in my own style? And how do I do it in a way that resonates with the market? How do I do it in a way that makes sense financially for them, for the market? How do I do it in a way that's authentic? How do I express this full self in it? You know that. You're probably more clear about that trigger, about that emotion that makes you want to take the action, to embark on this journey of transformation. And that is the trigger. Now, the thing I want to talk about more than anything here is that this is a reiterative process. You really are not going to uncover it once and be done with it. No matter how clear you think you are about your niche, about your offers, about everything, you are changing. I hope you're growing, right? And so if you are alive and your brand is a reflection of your true self, then your brand is also alive. Just like you, your brand is evolving, your brand is growing, your brand is uncovering itself. And a lot of times this can feel like it's getting messier and messier before it gets more organized. It's kind of like having a closet that's full of stuff, and you know you can make sense of it and it makes sense in the back of your head. But for you to articulate it, you have to kind of take out all the pieces out of the closet, create even more clutter in your home, and then put it back together. So it is going to get messier before it gets clearer. Know that that's natural, and you have to keep going, and you have to sit with the discomfort of that lack of clarity or that uncertainty. It's not even lack of clarity. Sometimes it's like, I'm sure, but I suspect there's more to this. That uncertainty is not only normal and okay, it's good. It means that you're not just stifling yourself. You're not just going, well, what's the first thing that resonates with the market that I could sell? Okay, I'm sticking with that just because that's what people want to buy. No, maybe there's more to it, to your message, to your mission in your work, in your life's work, that's being created through you in this process. And allowing it to evolve and to grow through you is very important. And this definitely takes time. I would say it even takes a whole lifetime. It never stops. That's why in my work, I like to not just help people figure it out, but I like to teach them how to figure it out for themselves, so that months, years, decades down the line, when you're going through it again, when you're going through that, there's something within me that wants to be created through me right now, you know how to approach it, and you can dance in that, uncertainty and still find joy in the process of uncovering all that you are. All right, that was the video for today. Thanks for watching. My name is Aliana Kali, founder at Brands Are Alive. I'll see you next week.